However, the tuition for the monk academy is 80 taels a year. To let my daughter stay in the mausoleum to rest, Fang Keo went to Ling Dan Feng to make a duplicate key. Fang Keo's wife also worked 2 jobs. This is also a common occurrence in the families of lower-tier cultivators. The couple's hope for a stable life is bleak. If a descendant with a noble root is born, no matter the cost, we need to invest resources. Let one's descendants climb higher. At this moment, Fang Keo from the Guing Tower was cupping his hands to Qin Zhengyan. Thank you, deist Qin, for your concern. It's already fine. After speaking, he coughed twice. Qin Zhengyan didn't say much either. Smiled. Continue to clean while looking down. Stop playing with the cat all day. We'll have to deduct a day's wages. The situation at Feng Dayu's home. Nature cannot be held back for even a day. Qin Zhengyan cleaned the courtyard. Looking at the old alchemy room. Thought about it. Walk over with the broom. But the door was already locked. He walked to the side, looking through a hole in the window. The bronze furnace stood prominently inside. Yang Fengshen couldn't sell the bronze furnace last night. They sent him back overnight again. Qin Zhengyan felt a bit strange. Yang Fengshen has the highest pay in the workshop. There shouldn't be a lack of money. Why did he choose to do something so risky? If he really sold it, how to explain to the homeowner, "Old man Fang, you haven't come for 2 days. I'll take a snack from you." At this moment, Yang Fengshen's voice came from the yard. Qin Zhengyan walked out. Then I saw Feng Keo arguing with Yang Fengshen. Yang Wanshi. I had already negotiated the price with the homeowner before he left. The homeowner promised me no deductions for these 2 days off. I reward him. Yang Fengshen sneered. I am in charge. You all can just leave it to me. You didn't quote me a price. What's the problem with taking your snacks? Yang supervisor. My daughter is about to pay her tuition for the month. Please have mercy. Old man Fang. Don't keep talking about your mediocre daughter all day long. On the tip of the tongue. You thought I didn't know. Your daughter is on leave this month. It's just an average person. There is no hope of entering the outer gate of Jinyang. Yang Wanshi. But the landlord promised me. All right. There is still half a stove left in the backyard. It must be cleaned up before noon. Yang Fengshen finished speaking. No longer paid attention to the desperate pleas of Fang Keo. Chubby little short legs, selling like hotcakes. In the morning, I just walked over. I saw Qin Zhengyan. He asked coldly, "What are you doing here?" Qin Zheng raised the broom in Yang's hand. Yang Wanshi. I want to clean this practice room. For some reason, the door is locked. Yang Fengshen scolded. Didn't I say so? This old practice room needs renovation. No unauthorized personnel allowed inside. I can't understand. Okay, then I'll go clean somewhere else. Qin Zhengyan held a broom, walking towards the courtyard. Seeing the old man Fang, who is described as withered, he let out a faint sigh. I went to do something. Evening. Qin Zhengyan arrived at the night market, looked from a distance at Mo Xiaolan's stall, seeing him busy attending to the guests. So I didn't disturb him. I took a stroll around by myself, an hour later, after visiting the entire night market, but couldn't find any second-hand single stoves for sale. The main issue is the high price of single furnaces. Usually, one would sell a second-hand single stove. Everyone goes to Fukuhara Pavilion. I won't go to the night market. However, Qin Zhengyan used to. I went to Fukuharaken to take a look. An ordinary second-hand bronze furnace. It's about 50 or 60, give or take. He can't afford it. You can only try your luck at the night market. Unfortunately, today luck is not on my side. It can only come again tomorrow. Just about to leave the night market. A clear and spirited voice came from behind. Kindalyu, you have arrived. Why didn't you look for me? Turning around to take a look, Mozayalan in a plain-colored long robe, standing in front with hands behind his back, the orchid on my left shoulder, in harmony with her smile, quite lively. Kingenyan laughed and said, Modalyu, I have delayed you for several days. I won't disturb you again. Mozayalan shot him a glance. Don't say anything that sounds distant or formal. Let's go. Without saying another word, he pulled her along. Once again I arrived at the innermost part of the eastern market, the second-hand stall. Zhang Daoyu is still lounging on the recliner. Two people have arrived. Didn't get up either. Gently push aside the hair that covers her face. You have good luck. Today someone came to sell a bronze furnace. Fixed price, 18,010. Okay. 2 days later, you come to inspect the goods. Mo Zayalan frowned. The agreed price. Why has it gone up again? Zhang Daoyu then got up, lazily walking. Just this price. Don't. Naturally, someone will want it. Mo Zayalan suddenly laughed, walked up to her food stall. Blink your eyes. Zhang Daoyu, yesterday you almost sold me that damaged, shady stove. If everyone in the night market knows about this. You say, is there anyone who dares to buy things from you again? Jane Daoyu pointed at her. You are spitting fire with your words. Mo Zayalan brushed her Dan tail behind her head. Hands on hips. The original price remains unchanged. 12,010. Bronze furnace with spirit fan. Jang Dayu touched her face. A flash of blue, a flash of white. Stamping feet and wailing. Meeting you. I'm really having a terrible time. Thank you, Zheng Daoyu. We'll come back in 2 days. Mo Zayalan smiled and cupped her hands in greeting. Pulled Qin Zhenyan away. Qin Zhenyan said, Mo Daoyu, you have offended her. Will there be trouble at the night market? Mo Zayalan smiled. Qin Daoyu, don't worry. At 12:10 she still has something to gain. Just now they were putting on a show in front of us. Qin Zhenyan turned to look back. Suddenly, the deist friend who was just pounding his chest and stamping his feet, Anren has settled back into the lounge chair. She couldn't help but shake her head and laugh. Can survive in this night market. Indeed, they are all clever individuals. Look again at Mo Zayalan, who is wearing a radiant smile. I admire them even more in my heart. She is a rootless and credentialless female cultivator. Can survive here. It is indeed quite difficult. It is now 4 o'clock. The night market is closing. Qin Zhenyan helped Mo Zayalan pack up the stall. The two of them went home together along the way. Back to Jeyu Alley. Qin Zhenyan thanked Mo Zayalan again. Qin Daoyu, you are so polite afterward. I can't help you anymore. Mo Zayalan smiled and waved at her. Hurry back. Your wife must be getting anxious. After speaking, he opened the door and walked in. Qin Zhenyan turned back, ready to enter the house. Sha is a meal. Just now, it seemed she saw in front of her window. A shadow flashed by. Did the river of autumn wait impatiently? Look at me from the window. Qin Zhenyan shook his head. Because I overthought it. She opened the door and entered the room. I caught a whiff of that mouth-watering aroma again. In the deep winter night. Returning home, I can have a bowl of scallion and minced pork congee. It has become a pleasure for her. Keu Deu. I'm back. Did you make porridge again? Qin Zhengyan smiled and said to Qiuzhe, who was sitting at the table, "Not available." But Qiuzhai, he replied expressionlessly, "Not available. Qin Zhengyan is correct." Sniffing. "But this fragrance, I have already finished drinking." The river of autumn softly said a word, got up and went to bed, lying down with his back to her. I fell asleep, then turned back again. Sing Mu Han Chuen. One morning, King Zhengyan stepped out of the house, preparing to go to Lindenfang for some food. I saw many neighbors standing outside. The crowd is discussing. The expressions were somewhat stern. Next door, Dais Chen Fang and Zhang Chen are also present. Qin Zhengyan stepped forward and asked the two, "Zhang Dayu, Chen Dayu, what happened?" "Qin Daoyu, last night something happened again in King Luo Alley," Chen Fang said to Qin Zhengyan, with a worried expression. Qin Zhengyan's expression subtly changed. Quickly asked, "Another ghostly encounter." A neighbor next to him said, "That's right. Last night outside King Luo Alley, a servant was killed. The talismans and spirit stones on him were looted clean. So-called ghost cultivation refers to those who plunder, even killing other cultivators, the evil cultivators, corrupted demon path. It's for the ghost's repair. Recently, Yunlin town has indeed experienced incidents of ghostly bandits, attacked and robbed by a ghost. Most are Dan masters and attendants. Because of what is on them, they usually carry valuable herbs and talismans. Such an event, there have already been 3 or 4 incidents. One of the Dan masters, due to fierce resistance, was killed on the spot. It is said that the outer gate of Genei sect. Someone will be sent to investigate soon. I didn't expect this ghost cultivator to be so rampant. Yet another person has been killed. Everyone, please do not panic. Everyone knows that living in Jeyu Alley, there are no wealthy people. It seems that ghostly repairs are not worth it either. It's better to be cautious. Recently, I have been returning home earlier every night. The audience begins to murmur. Qin Zhengyan bid farewell to Chen Fang and Zhang Cheng, exited from Jeyu Alley. Recently, Lin Danfang's landlord has not returned. A day passed in the room without incident. Yang Fengshen left before dawn. As soon as he leaves, Qin Zhengyan also left early. They arrived at the night market before it got dark. Mo Ziolan is weaving at the stall, still wearing the Ikkyu uniform, a set of blue robes. Her long legs, rabbit tighter, Yunshin. Her forehead was covered in sweat, having just sent today's letters and items. Hastily arrived at the night market. Qin Zhengyan stepped forward to help. Mo Ziolan looked up, exclaimed in surprise, "King Dayu, how did you come here? Didn't we agree to go check on Danlu tomorrow night?" Qin Zhengyan said, "Mo Daoyu, I heard that the ghost festival came to King Luo Eli again last night. Just a reminder, let's go back a bit earlier these days." Mo Ziolan's phoenix eyes curved up. Bright night laughter. Qin Dayu is truly thoughtful. "Don't worry. I will close up early tonight." "Okay. Then I'll take my leave first." Qin Zhengyan bids farewell to Mo Ziolan. At this moment, the sky has darkened. She remained vigilant all the way, occasionally look around, holding a talisman in my hand. "There's something off. Stick it to your leg and run away." Fortunately, the journey was uneventful. Quickly stepped into Jeyu Alley. Qin Zhengyan let out a sigh of relief. Not yet reached the door. Qin Zhengyan suddenly stopped, looking far away at my own window. Sure enough, a petite figure was seen, standing by the window, seemingly feeling something. The next moment, the figure disappeared. Kin Jenian smiled. Arriving in front of the house they rented, open the door and go in. The fragrance fills the room. A pot of delicious food is placed on the table. Scallion and minced pork congee. There is also a porcelain bowl beside it. Kyuje sat at the table. Seeing him return, indifferent expression. Let's eat. Today, the river of autumn is dressed in a robe of azure mist. The outside is draped in a thin black veil. The fairy landed above the chest. Black veil board. Ji Banlu. A small piece of pure white appeared. Kyujai he though petite, but the demeanor is cool and aloof. The highlighted area stands out remarkably. Wearing any clothing has its own charm, but his clothes are almost all black. It looks somewhat strange. Kinjenian walked over and sat down, laughing and saying, "Did you finish the porridge today in the autumn?" Kyujit looked at him faintly. Kinjenian said no more, quietly bent over drinking porridge. Autumn has arrived. After finishing a bowl of porridge, Kinjenian suddenly spoke. "I want to buy a second-hand bronze stove. The friend living across the door is Mo Dao. Meet a vendor who sells second-hand goods. These past few nights, I went to the night market to ask for his help. So yesterday the two of us met, returning home together in the rain. The river of autumn sits cold and indifferent, silent." Kinjenian smiled. "You again. By the way, recently there have been ghostly killings during Halloween nights. Autumn has arrived. Do not go out at night. The ghost festival has arrived." A glimmer flickered in the eyes of Kyuje. Finally there is a response. Asking the way, "Where is it?" Kinjenian said, "I heard that last night in King Luo Alley also killed a tailor. If this ghost continues to cause trouble, maybe Jinyangzong will send someone over." Jinyang sect sent someone over. The autumn river's elegant brow slightly furrows. On the charming round face, as if illuminated by cold frost. Again asking, "What if that ghostly cultivator never appears again?" Kinjenian said, "The Jinyang sect shouldn't send anyone here, in a small place like Yunlin town, as long as nothing major happens. These large groups, it doesn't matter." Kyujai he nodded slightly. A cold light flashed in the eyes. It is autumn deist friend. "What's wrong?" Kinjenian asked. "It's nothing. The autumn river no longer speaks." Kinjenian looked at him. "I got up and went to the kitchen to fetch a set of chopsticks and a bowl." He served a bowl of porridge. Put it in front of him. "You should have a bowl too." Kyujai he looks down. The meat porridge in the bowl was still steaming. He looked again at Kinjenian. "You really want me to drink?" Kinjenian felt somewhat perplexed. "Of course. A couple naturally needs to eat together. You haven't eaten again, have you?" After all, he came back quite early today. Does the river of autumn not wish to wait for him? Shall we have a meal together? But the river of autumn has already responded with a sound. Bow down and silently sip the porridge. Kinjenian is correct. I didn't expect him to be so obedient today. A sense of inexplicable achievement arose within. Originally strategizing to win over my cold-hearted wife. It's also a kind of fun story. The two finished their porridge. Hieri he tidied up the pots, pans, and dishes into the kitchen. Kinjenian followed him inside, chuckling happily. "Thank you for your hard work making porridge, Q Dao Yu. I'll wash the dishes." The autumn river unexpectedly flowed out of the kitchen. Kinjenian scratched his cheek. It seems he never intended to wash the dishes. Kinjenian quickly finished washing the dishes and came out. Suddenly, I felt a rush of warmth surging in my lower abdomen. He is combing his hair, looking at the river of autumn. He had already taken off his outer coat. Sitting on the bed, she hugged the blanket. "Autumn Dow, friend, you added medicinal herbs to this porridge again. Kyushai, he's round and charming face, but two red clouds float up." The voice remained indifferent. "It's time to take a break." Kin Jengyan recalled what he said that autumn day. If he drinks the 10 complete nourishing porridge, the internal struggle of ice and fire is even more intense. He might not even be able to last 30 seconds. A sudden feeling of unease arose in my heart. "Keu Dao Liu, what are you doing?" Next moment, the candlelight in the room goes out, after less than 30 inhales. Marital relationship, 8,100. The couple's relationship is strained. No enhancements. Gain cultivation points. 2. Qin Zhengyun looked at the illusory words floating in the air. A mix of sorrow and joy in my heart. What is joyful is, the couple's relationship with the river of autumn has improved by 3 points. Clearly, last night's rough conversation had an effect. Sadly, just as the river of autumn said, after he drank the nourishing porridge, the ice and fire are even more intense. I can't believe I can't even last 30 seconds. This is just too much bullying. Qin Zhengyun clenched his fists. Next time, I must reorganize Keeg. I will take good care of you. Feeling deep sorrow and anger, the dark autumn river suddenly turned over. A pair of cold hands, staring directly at him. After less than 30 puffs. Marital relationship, 8,100. Emotional connection is too low. No bonuses. Obtain cultivation points. 2. Autumn Dao, friend, allow me to say something. Ming Rai Shuju, can we not talk at home anymore? At this moment, exhausted Qin Zhengyun has fallen into a deep sleep. In the darkness, a petite figure got off the bed. Come to the window. He quietly looked towards the house on the left side across the street. The moon is dark outside, and the wind is high. The figure inside remained completely still. An hour later, the hour of the pig 1:03 a.m., the night has grown deep. On the left side opposite that room, the door creaked open softly. 3 figures in black robes. He sneaked out of the house. Zhao Ji walked outside. Indoors, in the flickering red light, the delicate shadow of a small head on the wall. Gradually, it became higher after a moment. A tall figure in the wind and rain. From Qin Zhengyun's room. Flickered out. 3/4 past the hour of Y. Lian Alley. In Yulin Town, the most beloved Honglu by Nan Ziu. Just across the alley. At this moment, a person named Nan Ziu Liang spoke in a bright tone, leaving from the red chamber, muttering in his mouth, "Wait for me to sell all the blessings tomorrow. I had you all wear the black gauze cloud-patterned skirts, disguising as the holy maiden of the demon gate, here to serve you, sir. This person appears to be a tailor, just have already drunk quite a bit. I can barely walk." He walked into Liu Yan Alley, stumbling forward for a while, gradually becoming remote. Suddenly it appeared before me, 2 figures dressed in black robes, emitting a cold aura. This master is upright, recalling the recent rumors about the ghost festival. Suddenly I became half awake. He took out 2 teleportation talismans. "Stick it to your legs." The figure transformed into a streak of light. "Turn and run." Bum. Then struck by a brilliant beam of light. The figure flew back, fell heavily to the ground. He spat out a mouthful of fresh blood, looking at another figure in a black robe, slowly approaching oneself, instantly terrified as if their soul had left their body. just about to take out the talisman paper. The two people blocking the way have already stepped aside. Someone stretch out a leg. Step on his hands. Fashi University is harmful. Crying for mercy. Three seniors. I will give you everything. Spare me. That emitted a splendid light. The man in the black robe stepped forward and knocked down the tailor. Bending down, I fumbled around the other person's body. More than 10 talisman papers were found. More than 10 spirit stones. Several first-grade spirit pills. HMPH. It turns out to be a fat sheep. He waved his hand. In the hands of another man in a black robe, a dagger has already appeared. The cold radiance flickered. It seems to be a low-grade magical tool. The tailor screamed in agony. Senior, spare my life. Spare me, please. Da-da, da. At this moment, a strange sound of footsteps emerged. 4 waits, 4 lights. 4 distant, 4 near, as if stepping on several people's hearts. 3 figures in black robes turned to look in the direction of the sound. A strange figure approached from ahead. He has red hair, a red robe, the sway of the waist while walking. Mountains and rivers rise and fall. Her figure was tall and graceful. It feels like there's a magical force. It's impossible to look away. Only his face was covered with red gauze. Cover the face. Only a pair of cold, sharp eyes were revealed. In the dark, flashing with a piercing cold light, the 3 men in black robes exchanged glances. Be vigilant in your heart. Everyone took out the same style of dagger to clash with the ritual instrument. Who are you? One of the hooded figures spoke up. The red-haired woman continued her steps, still slowly walking towards the 3, looking for death. The 3 realized the newcomer was not friendly. Not much to say. One person restrained the corpse. The 2 people simultaneously brandished their daggers. 2 red beams shot towards the red-haired female cultivator. Then he crouched down again, charging towards the female cultivator from both sides. A dagger lunged toward the throat. A dagger swung towards the thigh. These 3 individuals are from the Blood Dan sect of the southern demon land. This door is all about Dan corpses. However, it is different from the Dan corpses of the righteous path. Their alchemical materials, all are coming to fight fiercely. The 3 of them have extensive experience in battling. Right from the start, it was a close-range lethal move, not giving the other party a chance at all. The righteous cultivators of the Eastern, encountering this kind of attack method, it's usually hard to cope, even if one's cultivation surpasses the 3 in black robes. Caught off guard, all I can do is harbor resentment. However, the red-haired woman flashed her figure. Light. Song dodged 2 beams of red light, not knowing how to move my hands. The daggers of the 2 black-robed figures have been seized. Insert between the thighs of the 2 people. 2 piercing screams. Arrived. The female cultivator shot out a pill from each hand. It flew directly into the mouths of the 2 figures in black robes. The tall figure moves continuously. The next moment, I have arrived before the remaining figure in the black robe. The figure in the black robe reacted extremely quickly. A shiver ran through my body. The light of the vertical finger shone brightly. The red-haired female cultivator raised her hands lightly. A bright red flame. It unexpectedly burst forth from her palm. In an instant, all the flicks of the black-robed figure were enveloped, turned to ashes. In the pupil of the black-robed figure, the flames rushed towards me. Horrified to the extreme, I can only stare blankly and wait for death. The next moment, the flame vanished. The figure in the black robe widened his eyes, trembling all over like a sieve. Amidst the sound of rushing water, the pants are already wet. In that fleeting moment, the breath of the flames is too terrifying. Like a giant beast in a desolate valley, the black-robed man has killed many cultivators. Mental toughness. But facing this terrifying aura, he really couldn't suppress it. Fear that seems to come from the soul. You. Who exactly are you? He hasn't finished speaking yet. A pill has already flown into his mouth, directly into the throat. In an instant, every vein in my body feels like it's being gnawed by countless insects. Incomparable pain. The man in the black robe knelt on the ground. Jiang da zui ba. But not even a scream could escape. His two companions. Falls to the ground and rolls earlier than him. The face is equally distorted. Unable to make a sound. Thank you for saving my life, senior. The tailor who was robbed, narrowly escaping death, quickly thanked the red-haired woman. The gaze couldn't help but linger, shooting at the tall, windswept fish body. The red-haired nun looked at him. Under the red veil, a distant, ethereal sound emerged. "What did you just say?" "Fu Shi Shen," hastily said. "Thank you for saving my life, senior." "Red-haired nun." Not this sentence. The tailor was taken aback. Time shifts paths. "Senior, please spare my life." The red-haired nun looked at him. The gaze met. Reminded. "You say. What do you want those repairs to do?" The gaze of the tailor. Finally from the red-haired priestess, tall and slender figure. Move to his side. Those who commit sins will face consequences. I said, make them all put it on. The black-veiled skirt of the demoness. Serve me well. This is the line. The red-haired female cultivator clapped her hands, in a voice as ethereal as an immortal's. Surprisingly, there was a hint of innocence, shaking the mountains and rivers. That lustful tailor, my eyes went wide, daring and audacious, reaching out to grab the ankle of the red-haired female cultivator. "Senior, I'm injured. I live in King Luo Alley, not far from here. Could you please give me a ride, senior?" Can The red-haired priestess finished speaking. The jade hand reached out in front of the tailor's eyes. "Fu Shi Da Zai." Just reach out to grab. But then I saw that fair hand suddenly turned red. Uncle and nephew. A burst of bright red flames erupted, completely enveloped the entire person of the master. The chilling wails suddenly echoed. The red-haired nun has already been, with the black-robed man's dagger, cut the throat. Pat, no longer moving. In less than half a stick of incense's time, the body of the tailor had turned to ashes. The flames receded. Nothing is left on the ground. 3 silent screams from the hooded figures. They also witnessed this scene, eyes filled with shock and fear. There wasn't any before. The 2 in the corpse's forbidden pants also shot their 3. He has killed quite a few people. But when it comes to coldness and ruthlessness, mood swings. Not even as good as a finger from that red-haired female cultivator. At this moment, the red-haired female cultivator walked up to the 3 of them. Waving hand, 3 streams of spiritual energy entered the bodies of the 3 individuals. The gnawing pain of death within the 3 bodies suddenly disappeared. One person said tremulously, "Xianden is a kind of sinister, low-quality elixir. After eating, my whole body aches. Only the aura of the one who holds the Dan can provide temporary relief. It would occur once every month thereafter. If the energy of the one who holds the elixir cannot be alleviated, died from severed meridians. This also means those who are poisoned will forever become the servants of the ones who hold the elixir. This heart elixir is made from heart grass. But Xin Cao is not naturally occurring. must be nurtured by a fifth-level spirit master, created by a fifth-tier Dan master. In other words, the red-haired nun standing before them at this moment, not a fifth-order spirit master. He is a fifth-tier alchemist. The three men in black robes trembled all over. Struggling, he kept bowing to the female cultivator. "Senior, spare my life. Senior, please spare me." The red-haired female cultivator said lightly, "From today onwards, no more looting outside. Do not do anything that draws attention. I will faithfully follow the elders' teachings." The three bowed their heads to take the exam. The red-haired female cultivator paused. "Yudao, you are from the Blood Dan sect." The three of them exchanged a glance. "I dare not hide. Senior, your insight is like a torch. We are the people of the Blood Dan sect, but has been expelled from the sect, unable to establish a foothold in the southern demon land. The matter has just arrived here. You are from the Blood Dan sect. So you all." The red-haired priestess turned her head to look elsewhere. The ethereal voice seemed a bit awkward. "There is a Dan furnace, right? Yinji, Chayu alley." All is silent. Three figures in black robes, stumbling into the alley, quickly enter a room, close the door. The three men sat on the ground, exhausted and defenseless. On the thighs of the two men, still flowing with donated blood, whining softly in its mouth, "Who is that female demon?" "SHH. Joey, it is said that the poison of the heart is like a parasitic worm, can allow the poisoner observe the words and actions of the poisoned over time, still within the 1,000 miles, stimulating the toxin outbreak. Senior, I spoke out of turn just now. Please, Senior, do not blame me." The male cultivator named Zhao Yi, having a horse-like face, at this moment kneeling down, apologizing to a senior whose whereabouts are unknown. Then he got up and said to the other two, first two, "Sun-san, what should we do now?" The previous two figures were slightly plump, fair and clean. Sun-san is slender in figure, sharp-nosed and monkey-like. Wen Yan bitterly smiled and shook his head. What else can be done? Nature is to strictly follow the teachings of predecessors. Tomorrow I will deliver the Dan furnace to Liu Yan alley. Zhao showed a look of humiliation on his face. "But there is nothing that can be done. Could only rise." The senior also instructed, "Let's clean the Danlu. Must not leave traces of the Blood Dan sect. Hurry up and get started." After speaking, he walked to the kitchen. Draw back a black curtain. A bronze cauldron appeared before the three of them. "Kyan and Sun-san." A knife was stabbed into the thigh. Grinning widely, "Both of us are injured. Can you not clean by yourself?" Zhao Yi angrily said, "It's all your fault. They say there are no masters in Yunlin town. Can plunder at will. Otherwise I wouldn't have encountered that female demon senior. At this point, you two still want to slack off. Be careful, I will report this to my senior tomorrow. You two are outwardly obedient, but secretly defiant. Damn it. Chubby Kyan Shu Dai stood up. "Zhao Yi, don't slander me. I'll come over to clean up now." Sun-san could only lean against the wall to stand up, dragging the freshly bandaged upper leg. Limping, he walked to the bronze furnace. The three endured physical pain and emotional wounds. Silently began to clean the furnace. Outside the window, a tall red figure flashed by. The next moment, it seems they entered a rental room across the street. The dark clouds in the sky dispersed. Moonlight spills down. The alley in the courtyard remains peaceful and serene. One day, King Zhengyun opened his eyes, struggling to sit up from the bed. At this moment, I only feel fatigue in my lower abdomen. My knees feel weak and shaky. Glancing sideways at the autumn river that turns its back to me, he breathed steadily. It seems to be sleeping quite soundly. This cannot happen again. Qin Zhenyan had a sudden thought. Illusory words appeared before me. Then Qin Zhenyan, Shumain, 35, 40, cultivation, refining Kai, third layer, 3,500, skills, a novice alchemist, 6,200, spiritual root, inferior fire spiritual root, 28,100, low-grade ice element spiritual root, 33,100, available practice points, 16. The fire attribute low-grade spiritual root increased by 9 points. The ice type low-grade spiritual root has increased by 8 points. Gained 16 cultivation points. Zhenyan, add a little. Qin Zhenyan added 8 points each. Cultivation, on skills. Thus, the attribute panel became Cultivation, Refining Kai level 3, 11,500. Skills, a novice alchemist, 14,200. Qin Zhenyan sighed. In the end, we still need to think of a way. Enhancing marital relationships. Otherwise, we won't wait long enough to refine the ice heart rejuvenation pill. I will have to die first on the dual cultivation path. He gently got out of bed. Go to the kitchen and put on your outerwear. Come out to see Qiaji River on the bed. Still sound asleep. Qin Zhenyan did not wake up Qiu. Gently open the door. Dodge out. Close it gently. No words during the day. Evening. Qin Zhenyan arrived at the night market. Mo Xiaolan has already arrived early. Waving at him from afar. Smile and clasp hands. Mo Daoliu, you're up so early today. Mo Xiaolan has already changed. The clean uniform for daytime seating breaks. Wearing the usual plain-colored long robe. A delicate orchid on the left shoulder. Smiled as well. Qin Daoliu, didn't you say? Is it not peaceful lately at night? Let's check the Dan furnace early. Go back early. Okay. Then let's hurry up. The two moved with familiarity. Arrive at the innermost stall in the East Market. Zhang Deiyu is not sleeping this time. Standing in front of the stall. A messy wave of hair on the forehead. Two fellow deists. Come with me. Still winding through the small paths. Arrived at that hidden room. Inside there was indeed a bronze furnace. Next to it there is a low-grade fire spirit fan. Qin Zhenyan walked around the Dan furnace once. I opened the furnace lid and the side medicine entrance. Take a close look. Then he sat cross-legged on the ground. Put the divine stone into the furnace. Inspect the furnace thoroughly. A moment later, open your eyes. He got up and nodded at Mo Xiaolan. Mo Xiaolan's meeting. Bargained with the untidy vendor again. Another 50 spirit pearls were awarded. In the end, Qin Zhenyan paid Zhang Deiyu 11 spirit stones and 50 spirit pearls. Bought this bronze furnace and the fire-controlling spirit fan. Qin Zhenyan felt delighted. Finally got the alchemy equipment. Let the clear breeze disperse. I have truly become a Dan master. Qin Daoliu, I'll help you take the Danlu back. No trouble at all, deist friend. Neither of them has a storage bag. That is at least a mid-stage refinement of the artifact. Items that one can afford to buy. So, Mo Xiaolan found a wooden cart for transporting goods. The two people lifted the bronze furnace onto the cart. Let's push the cart back together. Qin Deiyu, please wait. Before leaving Dongshi, Mo Xiaolan said to Qin Zhenyan, turn back. quietly hand over the 3 spirit stones to Gendayu, and once again reminded, Gendayu, be sure not to tell deist Kin. Pull him to the food stall. A laugh echoes. Mo Dao Liu, unfortunately, I already have 3 tigresses at home. Otherwise, I will find a way to marry you. Mo Zailan chuckled. Zhang Dayu is joking. In this life, I rely solely on my own cultivation. I will never walk the path of dual cultivation. After saying that, he turned and left. Meeting with Qin Zhengyan, the two pushed the cart together, back at the residence. It was already the 4th season. The full moon hangs high in the sky, probably worried about the arrival of the ghost festival. No one was walking in the alley. Qin Zhengyan and Mo Zailan, pushing the cart to the front door. Mo Dao Liu, thanks to your help. Great kindness needs no thanks. Qin Zhengyan gratefully looked at Mo Zailan. Qin Dayu, between you and me, why are you being so formal? Mo Zailan smiled faintly. This Dan Lu is heavy. I'll help you carry it inside. I know. The door opens. A petite figure quietly appeared. She wore a golden silk dress. A woman with her long hair tied up. Look at Qin Zhengyan. Look at that bronze furnace again. Finally, the gaze fell on Mo Zailan. Mo Zailan also looked at her. Look up and down. Not sure if it's a coincidence. 2 women were both wearing plain colored dresses. It was like a pair of sister flowers. Just the 2 people's gazes met. Yet they remained silent. The atmosphere is a bit strange. Qin Zhengyan quickly stepped between the 2. Mo Dao Liu, this is my wife. Named Qiu Zhai He. Mo Zailan bowed to Qiu Zhe. Qiu Dao Liu, my name is Mo Zailan. Just live across the door. Feel free to reach out to me anytime if you need anything. The autumn river god appears indifferent. Thank you, deist Mo. Mo Zailan pointed directly at the bronze furnace. Holding the Dan furnace. Autumn Riverway. I helped her move back home. Okay. Kindayu. Autumn deist friend. I'll head back first. Mo Zailan cupped her hands in greeting to the 2, turned and walked to his own house. Open the door and go in. Qin Zhengyan on the river of autumn. Qiudao friend. Let's bring the alchemical furnace home too. Move it yourself. As soon as the words fell, the river of autumn has already turned and entered the house. No longer pay attention to her. Qin Zhengyan, the embellishment of the 3rd layer of Kai refinement. The body has already surpassed that of ordinary humans. Though the bronze furnace is heavy, if you really have to move, it's not that I can't move it. It's just a bit embarrassing. Qin Zhengyan finally managed to move the bronze furnace into the kitchen, panting while leaning on my waist. She looks outside. Counted. Autumn Dao friend. Today, I not only bought a bronze furnace. Huan Hui Yiling bought 4 pieces of Dan stone. At 10 o'clock, I bought a kingling grass plant. The bright moon is high in the sky tonight. It is the perfect time for alchemy. How about I refine the Qifeng tonight? A moment later, there is no echo outside. Qin Zhengyan walked out of the kitchen, but I saw that the river of autumn had already gone to bed. Back to oneself, Qin Zhengyan felt helpless. Jaida Dao, autumn deist friend. Then you should sleep first. I went to practice alchemy. After saying that, he walked back to the kitchen. Qiuzhi opened his eyes, facing the wall. A slender arm stretched out from under the blanket, holding a vibrant kingling grass in hand. This is the daytime of the past 2 days. It was cultivated through his spiritual energy. The river of autumn fell silent for a moment. Take out the storage bag. Put this kingling grass in. Then close your eyes again. In the kitchen, Qin Zhengyun swept the Dan furnace with his spiritual elbow, opened the bottom of the alchemical furnace. A piece of Dan stone was placed into the fire chamber. Then he urged his spiritual energy towards the Dan stone. Soon the Dan stone ignited. Qin Zhengyun quickly picked up the fire control spirit fan, gently flicked twice. The fire of the Dan gradually grew stronger. There are 7 steps to alchemy. The first step is to wash the furnace. Clean the Dan furnace. Leave no impurities. The second step is to make a fire. Place the Dan stone into the Dan furnace. Use spiritual power to ignite the alchemical fire. Qin Zhengyun has completed the first 2 steps. Next is the medication. He picked up the green forest grass. Open the side door of the stove. Wrap the green forest with spiritual energy. Put it in the furnace. Cleaning the furnace. Dan Huo. Medicinal herbs. The first 3 steps are very simple. Later steps. It's time to test the realm and experience of Danshi. The 4th step is to dissolve the medicine. Controlling the Dan fire. Melt the medicinal herbs. Turned into a medicinal liquid. At this step, there will be a spirit fan healer attending by your side, following Danshi's instructions. Shandong control fire spirit fan to control the size of the Dan fire, but Qin Zhengyun doesn't have the money to hire a spirit fan apothecary. Only I can come. He waved the spirit fan to control the Dan fire. Focusing intently, I placed the spirit stone into the furnace. Check the situation of the medicinal materials being refined in the furnace. Fortunately, Kingland grass is a type of medicinal herb, very easy to refine. An hour later, the green forest grass in the furnace has turned into medicinal liquid. Then comes the hardest step, extract, the so-called refining. It's just using the spirit stone in the furnace. Isolate the essence from the impurities in the solution. The essence remains in the main furnace. Impurities are drained into a separate room. This way, only the essence of the medicinal liquid remained in the main furnace. This step, the controllability over the spiritual stone of Dan is extremely demanding. It's as difficult as breaking an egg with one hand, engraving words on a grain of rice. This step, it is the difference between Dan stone and ordinary embellishments. Many aspire to become alchemists. It was at this step that I was stopped. I can only give up. Qin Zhengyun was still an alchemist apprentice. Often train one's awareness to be keen. It was just that his spiritual strength was not enough at that time, still unable to practice extraction. At this moment, it was his first time truly acting as a Dan master. Take this crucial step. In the furnace, Qin Zhengyun's consciousness penetrated the melted medicinal liquid. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. Separating impurities from essence bit by bit. But he is not skilled enough yet. The process is slow. 2 hours later, impurities have only been removed halfway, and his spiritual sense had already been depleted by more than half. It's already come to this point. Once you stop, the aura in the potion will dissipate. Things can only continue as they are. Another hour has passed. Qin Zhengyun was drenched in sweat, pale complexion. The impurities have finally been mostly separated, but his spiritual power was already hard to sustain. Bum! Finally, his consciousness plunged into chaos within the furnace. The essence originally enveloped by spiritual energy. It burst open with a spray, spilled a furnace. Extraction failed. This flower is a snack of the Kingling grass. Completely scrapped, Qin Zhengyun suddenly collapsed to the ground, struggling to lift his hand to wipe the sweat off his forehead. There is a saying among the alchemists, only a rare genius can succeed in alchemy on their first attempt. The second success belongs to the genius. The third success is extraordinary talent, succeeded after trying 4 or 5 times. Only then is it the majority of the world. It is you, me, and him in the ordinary small town. It seems there's truth to these words. The probability of successfully refining elixirs for the first time, harder than passing the exam in a previous life. Qin Zhengyan was already prepared in his heart. He is a once-in-a-century genius. It's impossible to be 35, just reached the second layer of chi-refinement. Even a genius might find it unlikely. I live in a small town, fail a couple of times. It's just too normal. Just a green forest grass. I just want a snack. This is the part that truly hurts. Qin Zhengyan extinguished the elixir fire in the furnace. Just a quick wash up, got up and walked out of the kitchen. Today, my consciousness is exhausted. Let's try again tomorrow. Walk to the bedside. Only see the river of autumn on the bed, still facing the wall, facing away from oneself. Yin Chi has already fallen asleep. Qin Zhengyan took off his outer garment, gently placed it on the bed. I glanced at that petite and delicate figure, turned away as well. Close your eyes. The consciousness is completely depleted. He was extremely tired. 3 men in black robes, guarding a bronze furnace, standing in the cold wind of the early morning, shivering with fear. Zhao Yi peeked at the alley entrance. Is it difficult? Why hasn't the senior come yet? As per the request of the senior from last night. Today the 3 of them, dragging the bronze furnace for a long time, arrived at Lian Alley, but after waiting for an hour. That senior has still not appeared. The 3 of them were injured last night. The weight of the heart is the poison of the mind. Completely unable to resist. The cold wind of a deep winter night. But they don't dare to leave. Only able to stay in the cold wind. Waiting in agony, the 3 of them huddled together, their bodies nearly frozen. Eagerly waiting. Another hour has passed. Around 3/4 of an hour deep in time. Finally, a tall red figure appeared. Welcome, esteemed elder. Zhou, previous to. Sun San immediately knelt down, called respectfully. Zhao Yi had a flattering expression, pointing at the bronze furnace next to him. Senior, this is the downly you requested. Cayenne smiled brightly. Senior, this bronze furnace. I cleaned all night last night. Ensure there are no impurities inside. Sun San respectfully said. Senior, I also placed 4 mid-grade Dan stones in the furnace. Please accept this with a smile. Zhao Yi and Cayenne turned to glare at him. Damn it, let this kid take the credit. However, as soon as the 3 finished speaking, then I heard that ethereal voice coming through. I don't want the alchemy furnace anymore. Let's move back. The 3 of them looked up in surprise. Look at the red-haired female cultivator. But the red-haired female cultivator already turned and walked out of the alley. The 3 of them looked at each other. Zhao Yidao, what should I do? Cayenne helplessly said. Didn't you hear what the senior said? Let's move back. Sun San said with a pained expression. 2 brothers. If it were a regular day, this little one, a solitary alchemist in a furnace, then we can move back. But right now I am seriously injured, cold and hungry. I really have no strength left. The 2 stared at him. Aren't we the same? Less nonsense. Hurry up and get started. Don't let anyone see you. So, 3 men in black robes, struggling to lift the heavy bronze furnace. Puffing and puffing, I headed towards Ju Alley. One day, Qin Zhengyan woke up. Get up from the bed. The river of autumn still has its back turned to me. It seems they are still sound asleep. Did not go wake him up. Kin Jengyan quickly washed up and went out the door, arriving at Lingdon workshop. Today the neighborhood is very lively. Just arrived at dawn.